Founded in 1977 by teenage friends, they had no idea that their music would impact not just rock and roll fans, but pop culture as a whole. Def Leppard sold over 100 million records, made their way to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and they're still performing in front of multi-generational crowds. Original vocalist Joe Elliott and longtime guitarist Phil Collen shared the band's story and their upcoming Las Vegas residency at Caesar's Palace.
Montag, lieben, glauben, globen.
Well, Joe and Phil, we have just a couple of minutes to get through almost 50 years. Let me ask you, when you look back, does it feel like 50 years, or because you were doing what you love, you're even surprised it's been that long?
No, it raced by. I mean, and it still is. You know, obviously, and we're having a blast, and we're a better band now than we were before. So each time it keeps getting better. So we're loving it.
Yeah. All right. Over 100 million albums sold. Two of the best albums of all time: Pyromania and Hysteria. Tours continue to be among the highest grossing annually. Let's go back to how this all started for you all. Joe, the first time you ever remember performing on stage and getting that feedback that people liked it.
Well, the first gig we ever did, which was 1978, I remember the feedback for that gig, because it's your first gig. You don't know whether it's really the only one that you ever do. But yeah, we played in front of a bunch of school kids who didn't have a clue what we were playing, because it was all our own music. And then we encored with a song that everybody knew, and they all came down the front and started going nuts, which is when we kind of got the idea, okay, more songs like that then. And as we developed into a band, and Phil came in 82, and then Pyromania came out in 83, and then we were then doing this in front of thousands and thousands of people. That's when it really starts to register, when it's happening night after night, just not a one-off like the first.
Well, Joe, I'm going to go back even before that. I believe there was an 11-year-old boy in a school play singing "The Wonder of You" by Elvis Presley.
The wonder of you.
Yeah, there is, but I didn't want to go back that far. You know, I mean. I did that when I was 11. I also played drums in a band called Jump for one gig in a working men's club when I was 15. I wasn't very good though. Yeah, I mean we've all had. Phil's done gigs in pubs and in front of five people.
Phil, let's go back to when you first picked up a guitar. There was a pivotal moment. You saw something. You said, "That's it for me."
Yeah, I saw Deep Purple, and I was like 14, and I saw them on the Machine Head tour. It was like, 1972, and I was like, Richie Blackmore smashed his guitar up and he was playing all this stuff. I was like, oh my God, that's all I want to do. So that was it pretty much after that moment. I pestered my mum and dad, took 2 years, finally got a guitar, and then here we are.
Yeah, here we are. All right, take us behind the name Def Leppard. Where did that come about?
That was me. I take full responsibility for it. When I was in art class in school, I got bored of doing bowls of fruit and vases of flowers and stuff. And we had a really cool art teacher we could even call him by his first name, Pete. You know, it wasn't Mr. Farmery. And I said, can I do something else? He said, what do you want to do? So I want to do rock posters. So I did. And I used real bands for a while. Then after a while, I got fed up with that. And I just started making them up. And I just wrote Def Leppard because it sounded good. So it was spelled correctly, and it was our original drummer Tony said, why don't we change the spelling to more of a phonetically friendly spelling, as well as, because it sounded good, but it looked awkward. And as soon as we dropped the A out of Def and changed the O in Leopard to a P, all of a sudden it looked great. We thought, and then when we actually wrote it out for the first time, it looked like Led Zeppelin, but by then we were invested in it so much, we weren't going to change it. It's really for a 15-year-old kid, that's it, you know.
Yeah. You had meteoric success, obviously, but then we had that thing called grunge that kind of entered, and they thought, well, maybe this rock and roll thing was kind of a young man's game. The thing is, it was an authentic person's game. You know, somebody could mimic the sound. You all were partially responsible for actually creating this sound. You were inducted in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2019, but now we get to enjoy you in Vegas. Vegas, of course, is known for over-the-top shows. You've been bringing that to the stage.
Yeah, but this is our third residency there. The first one we did 2013. I think we done the Hysteria album in its entirety. Then we done something in 2019. So this will be really cool. And they're different venues each time. So they're different energy. You know, we've been doing stadiums for the last 3 years mainly. And just going into a theater and actually honing it and actually making a show. It's just very different. It just keeps it very fresh. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, last time you were in Houston, you packed it in with 40,000 people, but we're all willing to make a road trip to Vegas. In this case, what goes in Vegas won't stay in Vegas because we're going to tell everybody about your show. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you. That's cool.
Thank you.
Def Leppard's Las Vegas Residency runs February 3rd through February 28th, 2026, headlining the Coliseum at Caesar's Palace. Now, I know that's next year, but those tickets will sell out fast. The Vegas show will be extra over the top because, well, it's Vegas. For more information, visit greatdayhouston.com.